Hello people of YouTube, it's your friend Shadow Walker the End, and sorry it took me so long to go and make this. I had to go and think of a few things for how this part of the story was going to go, because this is kind of a massive part. So let's get right into it, and let's see how this goes. So in my last part, I went and kind of brought up the question of what you guys wanted to do, and you guys decided that you wanted to go and you wanted to try and find evidence on your own. In 21's mind, 21 is thinking to himself and he's like, alright, so I don't want to cause a commotion, because Bernhard told me that causing a commotion would be like a really bad thing down here with all the people. So you decide to go and look for clues on that thought. And one of the weird things that you come across after going and searching around the streets for a while is you go and find a piece of fur. You haven't really seen anyone with pets around here, but this kind of fur, it feels wrong from what you remember about dogs in your age. Or cats, or whatever this fur is. And then you proceed to go and remember that the serum that Jekyll went and had was experimental and was based on animal DNA. Could that mean that this fur came from Jekyll? This would be confusing for multiple reasons. One, because from what you've seen, there are cleaning droids, meaning that this fur trail had to have been really recent if it left anything behind. So you start to go and follow it, and you start finding more fur. Apparently, from what you can tell, Jekyll's been shedding this gray fur, probably because of the experimental serum. So you continue searching, and eventually you go into like a big dome area in the city. And you've been searching through this, you've been going and picking up all these fur pieces, which you proceed to throw away, but you're following these fur pieces all the way into this dome. And it ends up going and being that you enter the dome. Now, you don't know where Jekyll would be in this massive area, and from what you can go and tell, any fur that's around here was already gotten by the cleaning drones that go around the area. So you're not really sure where you should start looking. But then you remember that you have a scout drone that you were given to go and, well, search for Jekyll. So you decide that you're going to go and use that. So you go and turn your scout drone online and you send him onto the roof of the dome area. It's one of the tricks that you were told by Bernhardt, going and sending the drone onto the top of this, onto the ceiling, goes and gives you a sky point of view where you can go and kind of just scan everybody. So you go up there and you start going and scanning everybody. And the scout drone's going and scanning around, it's going and looking, trying to go and find anything. And after around maybe like 10-30 minutes, you finally get a notification that your drone has gone and found Jekyll. Now you might be wondering how Jekyll didn't notice this and hack your drone. Well, one of the big things about Jekyll is that he has to go and see where the machines are in order to go and hack them. It's one of the major things about the machines of this era, is that they have to be located before they can be hacked. And Jekyll probably does not know that you're there, as far as you can tell. So you located Jekyll, and it ended up going and being that, so you start following him. And you eventually get to the location where he's in, and you see him on the street. But you realize that you can't capture Jekyll yet because you're on too crowded of a street to go and cause a commotion. All these people would go and trample you if you started going and just zapping people out of nowhere. On top of that, it ends up going and being that you were told that Jekyll was really dangerous in this kind of hand-to-hand situation. It would probably not be the best idea to go and try to attack him right out in the open like this. So, instead, you start following Jekyll. And you majorly do this with your scout drone. You try to keep as far a distance between you and Jekyll as possible. But eventually, Jekyll goes and leaves the dome area. And you proceed to go and follow him. One of the big advantages that you have in this situation is that as long as Jekyll doesn't directly see you, you're pretty sure that he can't go and detect you anyway. Because you don't make sounds and you don't cause a scent. So you just keep going and you keep following Jekyll. And eventually Jekyll kind of gets into not really like a secluded but semi-secluded area. You decide that this might be your moment, but you're unsure of how this would all turn out, especially in the area that you're in. Jekyll has kept himself in a lot of these public open areas where he could probably go and see you coming from like a mile away. So now you're going and just kind of following him still, trying to go and find some sort of opportunity, something that Jekyll missed that went and ended up going and that would allow you to attack him. So you keep following him, and you keep following him, and eventually you follow him into a bar. You sit down, you get a drink for yourself because you have some spare cash that you were given because, they had to go and start you off with something. And you're taking a drink, and you're just waiting for Jekyll. But Jekyll is really smart. He's been keeping in all these crowded areas where you can't make a scene. But eventually, Jekyll goes into a hotel area and goes up. And you realize that you could go and probably ambush him inside his hotel room. The problem ends up being is that you don't have access to his hotel room. And you need to figure out a way to get access. After searching the building, you kind of realize that going and trying to enter from the outside would be kind of stupid. You weren't given any kind of scaling equipment, nor do you have any genetic enhancements for climbing. It's one of the problems that you're having right now is mobility. So how are you going to go and get in? In the end, you decide to go and contact Inspector Bernhardt, the guy that went and taught you about your equipment, and asked him, essentially, I found the target's hotel, and I need to get in, but I don't know how. Bernhardt goes and gets on the line and goes and tells you this. He tells you that you are allowed to go and interact with other people, and you can go and get the hotel room to go. You can get the key to Jekyll's hotel room if you know the hotel room. Luckily for you, you had already kind of followed Jekyll with your scout drone. You've been setting it to follow him no matter what. So you already know that his room number is 367. So he's on the 3rd floor, he's on room 67. You enter and you go up to the guy at the front desk and you tell him official business. I need to get into room 367, exactly as Bernhardt tells you. And using your computer, you go and show the front desk person that you are an inspector. And he automatically just goes and gives you the key. You have proven you're an inspector, you are allowed to go up. So you go up to room 367. But here's your major dilemma, and this is where I'm going to leave you off. Is it wise to enter the hotel room and attack Jekyll right now? It's a big issue because this would be a close quarter space where you and Jekyll would be right in hand to hand. If Jekyll sees you, that's it. You guys are in a fist fight, and that's fisticuffs versus the Wolfman. Of course, if you wait here, then you might not be able to get another chance in order to go and zap him as easily. And on top of that, the big thing is that Jekyll's in a position where he could be sleeping right now. He's probably exhausted after everything he's done today. Plus, the dude got a little bit drunk, so who knows what could be happening in that hotel room. But you got to go and make sure that what you're doing is the right decision. Those are your two options. Do you enter the room and attack Jekyll now in order to try and detain him? Or do you leave and go and wait for a better opportunity? It's up to you to decide, Raiders. Shadowwalker out.